What, about 4 hours each time, or you do it all day?
I don't know. I wouldn't think they'd have court all day.
Well, it won't start before 9, I'm pretty sure.
Welcome to Unleashed Opinion, boldly challenging the powers that be while keeping liberals in their place with conservative ideals and common sense solutions.
Hello, folks. Welcome to the Unleashed Opinion. We're live and worldwide once again.
What?
Yeah, Chucklehead's in the house.
That's right, baby.
Yeah, where would we be without him?
We be here. And we be... No, wait a minute. No, we're not. Okay.
You okay?
Yes. I'm
That's
wonderful.
debatable.
Need a haircut, but I'm good.
Alrighty.
Passed my colonoscopy exam yesterday. I'm sure everybody wants to know about that.
Well,
I'm not full of crap like everybody thinks I am.
That's debatable.
Well, Miralax took care of that.
Big thank you out there.
Look, my arm's in the way.
Yeah, folks, we call him Chucklehead for a reason.
I wonder if I ought to scoot over a little bit.
Maybe.
Maybe, baby.
And big thank you out to our service members doing what they do, putting their lives on hold, their families' lives on hold,
God love
keeping
them.
us free and safe.
Damn straight.
Big thanks to John for putting everything together for us, because
Yeah, he's kind of good.
I don't know how to run this stuff. Oh, thank you to our listeners out there, everybody that sends us text messages and stuff on Facebook and stuff that we'll take a look at. And
Absolutely.
It greatly helps out, and especially conversations that while we're on the air, that helps a bunch.
Even some of you liberals that have been responding to our page,
That's okay.
as long as you and our other followers, do it in a civil way, that's great. That's fantastic.
It is
That's what
fantastic.
we're here for. So, thank you all very much. Got to give a shout out to all of our men and women out there in blue, police departments, first responders, and everything like that. Nurses, doctors.
People that put their lives on hold also to help us
Okay.
get through bad times.
Now, how can you do this? You were watching when in the beginning, and now it says you're watching again.
I don't know. I didn't do anything. It's probably you or your phone.
Dan Fry's watching. How you doing, Dan?
David Holtz is watching too. All
What?
right. Yeah.
The Holtzmeister.
That's
What
right.
about them guys out there on Route 125?
They'll be here. They'll
Pack
be
of freaks.
the Fulton County Connection. They'll be online here
That's
shortly,
right.
I'm sure.
That's right. A couple of guys from the Coast Guard.
Oh boy, it just never stops with you, does it?
No, it doesn't.
WICC staff.
Fantastic. People in the prison system, we love you, man. Hey, got a question.
Uh-oh.
If somebody wants to call into this place, what do they got to do?
They got a call. 217-909-4099.
Hey,
You can
there
be
it is.
on the air. It's right on the yeah.
But you're supposed to do that. You got the cue card.
I know. I just yeah. Just because I got it written down doesn't mean it's going to get taken care of.
Boy. See what I got to put up with, folks? Yep. Steve's in the house.
You betcha. What do you got? You got anything positive?
Got something positive here, man.
Alrighty.
Everybody knows the show, The Andy Griffith Show.
Yep.
Love that thing, man. No cussing. There's nothing going on. It's just great, pure, wholesome fun. There was a lady that played Aunt B, Frances Babier, and she died back in 1989, believe it or not, age 86. But anyway, when she died, she apparently felt a lot of appreciation for her local police force, which is outstanding. Her will specified that $100,000 go towards a trust fund for the police department in Siler City, North Carolina. It's a small town where she grew up. Apparently, she lived alone with her 14 cats in her later years.
Uh-oh.
I bet she went through a lot of kitty litter. It was considered a nice final gesture by a woman whom the locals say could sometimes be difficult to deal with, in contrast to her TV persona. Well, you know how those actors go. According to the News and Observer, the principal of the trust fund for the police is kept at $100,000, while the interest is divided among the police staff of around $20,000 every year for Christmas bonus around December 15th. Her will specified other parts of her $700,000 plus estate would go to the Actors Fund of America. Boo. Several residents of Connecticut and New York, her home state. In addition to the Siler City Police Department, the paperwork reported the rest went to the UNC Public Television, which auctioned off her Studebaker to contribute to the endowment, according to the reports. So, thank you, Aunt B.
You betcha. You betcha. I bet they didn't see that coming.
David Meyer and Stoke is out there. Clay and I are here.
All right. I knew you would be. Jed Parnes out there.
Ooh, what
All
up,
right.
Parnelli?
Hey, you know that liberal show, The View, which really don't try and watch hardly ever because
Yeah.
they get my blood pressure up pretty high. But Whoopi, of all people, actually said something that made a little sense.
Wait a minute. Whoopi Goldberger said something
That's
smart?
the one. That's the well. She's getting closer to being on the right track.
Okay, okay.
She's talking about that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
BSC herself?
Yeah, whatever you want to. Yeah, but she had a little word of advice for her, and kind of thought this was pretty amazing because I kind of thought these two people were quite a bit alike. But let's take a quick look at what Whoopi's got to tell her.
All right, then.
Got in there, and I know you got lots of good ideas, but I would encourage you to sit still for a minute and learn the job.
What?
And, and just, because there are people in that party who have been working their tails off. You could learn some stuff from them. And I just feel like, you don't have to be born into it. You don't have to know it when you step out. But before you start pooping on people and what they've done, you got to do something too.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of
here we go.
Yeah.
rather all three chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't
You idiots
start
voted
working
for her.
in 2020.
I can't let you
January 3rd, January 4th, we're signing healthcare, we're signing this.
But they don't actually inaugurate Congress people.
Okay, that's good, John.
They swear them in.
But Whoopi's wrong on one thing. She says, "Yeah, you got a lot of good ideas," which no, you don't. No, you don't. But she's right about like, hey, you might want to pay attention to these people that's been there for a little while because until you and Bernie Sanders got there, they were Democrats, but they were not socialist Democrats like this Cortez gal is.
Well, I'm going to tell you, they better watch out because more of the socialists are in the Democratic Party these days.
Oh, it's unreal.
And people like Nancy and Chuck and Barbara Boxer and all them guys, they're on their freaking way out eventually. And
Yeah.
that party is going to be taken over basically by the socialists. So if you want to end up like Venezuela or some other place like that, keep voting for these freaking idiots.
Yeah, in fact, go find another country to run because I really don't want you in mine because I
No.
thought it was this capitalism thing. It's not. It's got its faults, sure.
Sure it does. I mean,
But-
every system has its faults, but one of its basic faults. One of its basic faults is what? Prosperity.
Sure.
Yeah, but you're right. I mean, everything's got its faults, but this socialism crap.
Is never going to.
No.
And there's another thing. We talk about the things they teach in colleges. Apparently, they're not teaching much history, especially about socialism, because people seem to think it's a good idea, but it's not. It's never worked, never has. Just because these people haven't tried it doesn't mean when they do, it's going
You
to
got a
work
bunch of
because we
these-
know it's not.
You had a bunch for a long time. You've had a bunch of these '60s hippies, lethargic acid freaks in our colleges, teaching all of this crap, and it's just gone down even worse. And they're not teaching. I'm not saying every college, but a lot of colleges are not teaching what's supposed to be taught. And if you don't teach history or economics or whatever it is, you're just gonna.
Well, at least teach the basics of socialism and why it doesn't
Sure,
work. I mean, you
absolutely.
can put out there, you can end up with your own opinion. That's fine. But show people that, hey, when you run out of other people's money to spend, it's all over.
Well, that's pretty much what Margaret Thatcher said, right?
Exactly.
Prime Minister of England.
Yes.
Well,
Here we go. I got some
hello, Dan Lenny. Hosey.
Hosey's out there too. All right. Let's see. Speaking of colleges, Indiana's Butler University is toning down rhetoric surrounding the anti-Donald Trump course being offered to all students this fall. Students now have the option to sign up for special topic class titled Trumpism and U.S. Democracy, an initial course description charging the president with perpetuating sexism, white supremacy, xenophobia, nationalism, nativism, and imperialism. Wow.
Maybe UC Berkeley and them other places need to follow suit.
This course explores why and how this happened, how Trump's rhetoric is contrary to the foundation of U.S. democracy, and his wins means for the future. A description on Butler's website. The course also promised to discuss and potentially engage in strategies for resistance. So resistance is a policy because I don't know. It seems to be what the Democrats are all talking about is we're going to get in there. We're going to resist Trump no matter what. It's all about resistance. No matter what he likes, we're not doing it.
Well, absolutely. That's been going on since he got in there. They love this freaking guy before he became president of the United States.
Right.
And now he's just a POS. And he's trying to do, he's a racist. He's a xenophobe. He's a homophobe. He's a whatever a freaking phobe. Jeez Louise. Jody Parrish, Joyce Myers out there.
All right.
Eddie Durrell.
All righty. Good.
Hey, speaking of Alexandria Ocasio-BSC-Cortez, apparently she's leading the charge on the Green New Deal.
Well, I've seen a little bit on that. I don't really know too much about it.
Well, apparently it's, according to the article here, the Democrats in Congress who claim an environmental conscience are pushing a so-called Green New Deal meant to fundamentally shift America's focus to renewable energy sources in the hope of addressing anthropogenic climate change, which means results from human influence. Yes, I had to look that up.
I'm glad you did because I didn't know what that meant.
Rep. Cortez has become the face of the effort, calls for top tax increase of 70% to finance the program. Now, how do you think that's going to help the economy?
Well, it's not very good. And this is what she's referring to is people that make over $10 million. So, but still, 70%? Are you kidding me?
Well, the excessive intervention what she's calling for would be crippling to the environment simply because it would slow the economic growth that makes green energy advances possible to begin with. Imagine that. Although the Green New Deal doesn't appear to have been a fully fleshed out, the Green Party has proposed a Green New Deal that would shift America to clean energy, subsidize sustainable businesses, create a public jobs program, emphasis on mass transit and bicycling as the primary means of transportation. So they're going to try to take your freaking vehicles away from you. I wonder if that's a socialist idea or something like that.
Well, look at this, especially in the urban areas. If people do not have their own transportation, that means they're going to be taking public transportation. Who's in charge of that?
Hey, maybe they ought to get some of that high-speed rail that you like so much.
Or maybe not.
Never mind. Get this. The cost of this Green New Deal is astronomical, and by her own admission, the Green Party presidential candidate in 2016, Jill Stein, estimated that the jobs program would require an addition $400 billion annually, and the transition to the energy renewability would need another $200 billion annually. That's $6 trillion over the 10-year budgetary window for just these two aspects of the proposal.
What?
Can you frickin' believe that crap?
Well, you're going to have to tax these people more than 70%, probably.
Says this level of taxation would hurt productivity and investment in the economy. Do you think? What up, Todd Cotton?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not in that salary range, Eddie. There's no better example, this article states, than that of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt's New Deal. The phrase was coined in 1932 in FDR's campaign against Herbert Hoover, whose own extreme intervention in the economy through tax rate hikes, spending increases, and record tariffs turned a healthy economy dip into a full-blown recession. The main aspects of the New Deal were the National Industrial Recovery Act of 1933, the Agricultural Adjustment Act of 1933. The NIRA created cartels and monopolies, which in turn raised prices. What?
Holy cow.
The AAA paid farmers not to grow crops.
Whoa, heard about that.
They're still doing that. Or to destroy crops in an effort to boost agricultural prices. The Thinking about the AAA alone, nearly half of the U.S. economy back then was farm-based. Is it any wonder that the intervention suffocated growth? Yeah. Do you see any small farmers around anymore? Not. Crucial here is that Hoover and Roosevelt misunderstood a basic truth about downturns. They're not a sign of a sick economy. In truth, downturns or recessions are a happy sign that market forces are cleansing the economy of what had made it sick during the boom. For politicians to intervene in what is the cure is for them to prolong the illness. And you bet your ass that's what they're doing. All of this helps explain why unemployment during the Great Depression was extraordinarily high. Political intervention slowed the economic growth, without which there would be no recovery. We saw the same during the Bush and Obama years. Interventions of the bailout and federal spending variety began under President George W. Bush, and then President Barack Obama continued the political moves that sadly restrained the recovery. Well, geez, no kidding. We got a lot more in this article. I don't want to keep going on it because it is quite lengthy, but it's on our website if you guys want to go see it. But again, when you're making your way towards socialism,
nothing good's going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen.
Was it Sweden is backing out of socialism now, going to capitalistic ways? I think I've seen a clip on that. I haven't researched it all.
Why?
Yeah, because
maybe they see the big picture when they're looking at Venezuela and North Korea and communist China and things like this.
Very well,
maybe they're being proactive instead of reactive.
Oh, that's crazy.
Gosh.
Hey, Eddie says if we tax stupidity, then politicians would be broke.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. Wowza.
You was talking about green energy and stuff. Mm-hmm. I watched J.B. Pritzker's speech the other day. Yesterday.
JB. What do you got, JB?
He said Illinois will be the first member of the U.S. Climate Alliance to uphold the goals and ideals of the Paris Climate Accord.
Oh, my God.
So there goes your taxes right off the bat.
Hey, that $45,000 that just freaking left last year? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that means your tax base
your tax base is gone, and more people are going to leave because of this crap.
He says he's going to push for a $15 minimum wage.
Well, there goes your freaking, hey, your Big Mac, yeah, it's going to have a big price, folks.
You betcha. And he's going to legalize and tax pot. Okay, I get that. Expand high-speed broadband internet. I thought they were already doing that, but he says he's going to bring efficiency to state government.
Right. Hey, we know better.
He says he's going to lower the cost of government still deliver high-quality services, won't balance the budget on the back of starving, the sick, and the suffering, won't haul out government to achieve the ideological agenda.
Sounds like a Topps Big Boy commercial.
Yeah. So he wants to create a more fair tax system, which that's the progressive tax we've talked about.
Yeah.
Now, we did an article last week on Rahm Emanuel, who made, $554,000 last year, but paid, and with all his deductions and everything, paid a percentage rate of 26%.
Mm-hmm. 26%?
Yeah. Why is that? Because, yeah, you need a better tax system, but the progressive tax is not it. Especially when you start telling, Rahm Emanuel on the federal tax level is supposed to be taxed pretty high, and obviously he's paying 26%. So that's not working out so well because the rich people are your buddies, and you put loopholes in there that they're able to use it, which lowers their rates.
You can't say that.
I did.
Make sure this thing doesn't come on. There we go.
Also, what JB's got to face here, too, this is from the Springfield paper the other day. Unfunded pension liability of more than $133 billion. Okay. If you remember correctly, that was the state workers' fault for a long time, according to our governors, because we weren't paying enough. But if you recall,
because the state workers just reached their money into our freaking pension system and pulled it all out, right?
You're right. Well, if you remember, Blagojevich had the pension holiday where the state didn't pay their portion, but the workers did.
Yeah. And
they took our pension and reinvested it into, green energy for all I know, but they were bad ideas. So you got $133 billion worth of unfunded pension liability, more than $7 billion in unpaid bills, a budget that is unbalanced by at least $1 billion, and a terrible credit rating. Okay, this is what this guy is facing. So this is going to be no easy job, and I really hope he does a good job.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we want our governor to do a good job. We want this budget to be balanced, and we want this freaking state to come back to prominence if it was ever prominent. It was prominent under Jim Edgar, I do know that, but all other than I know were crooks.
But the things he's proposing, I'm doubtful.
Well, yeah,
I'm doubtful.
I mean,
I hope he gets it. I hope he gets it back on track. I really do, but I'm not going to hold my breath either.
I wonder if maybe we ought to go back on the gold standard if we could do that.
You know what?
Maybe
Wouldn't that be just crazy?
Maybe have our money backed by something valuable.
Other than just a politician's word.
Instead of having, hey, let's get this Bitcoin thing going on.
Yeah.
It's just air money.
No kidding. No kidding. Hey, we got Sean Sutherland, Dan Herder, and Nicole's out there this evening. Andy Hazelrig. All right.
Sweet.
What else you got over there?
Well, I got something here, and it's sad, and it really is sad. We back not only our military here, but our men and women in the police force and everything. But for the third year in a row, the number of police officers who committed suicide outnumbered those killed in the line of duty, according to Blue Help, which is a nonprofit organization that tracks law enforcement suicides. At least 160 officers nationwide took their own lives in 2018, one more than 2017, and a spike in 19 suicides compared to 2016. The large majority of these suicides are men who killed themselves with guns. New York and Chicago led the country with at least 5 police suicides. Chicago's force is notably smaller, so by the numbers is considered the worst among police suicides, according to Blue Help. Chicago's Fraternal Order of Police published a statement after the death of Officer Dane Smith that blamed increasing police despair on the negative news coverage of police officers. Go figure. Mm-hmm. Smith, 36, killed himself on New Year's Day. The fact that police are so vilified in the media and the political system, thank you, Barack.
No kidding.
Constantly subject to false allegations that lead to discipline and other forms of harassment certainly take its toll on police officers. The union said in a statement last week it is a leading cause of despair and low morale through the department. Smith leaves behind a wife and young son. This is terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
Unacceptable.
When you've got our media out there and
our president,
our former president, and a lot of these freaking Hollywood activists and whatnot, these Black Lives Matter and Antifa and everything, the stress of the job is bad enough. You and I know that.
Yes.
But then when you got all this other freaking negative rhetoric out there, blaming you from everything from here to next Christmas. That's bullshit.
Yeah, when you got the president going out there and saying, well, the police acted stupidly.
Yeah, and then finds out differently.
Yeah.
How many times did that happen, Barack?
Hosey says that breach of contract is not paying their share of our pension. I believe him that would be correct. But,
yeah.
What else we got here? Oh, Bill de Blasio, the mayor of New York.
Yeah, he's a wonderful guy.
Mm-hmm. Bill de Blasio announced Tuesday that New York is rolling out a $100 million per year program to provide health care to all residents, including undocumented immigrants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, don't they pay enough money on undocumented immigrants when they come into the country?
Apparently not. Let's see. The mayor said he believes too many city residents turn to hospital emergency rooms for health care. Instead, New York NYC Care is intended to connect these New Yorkers with primary care doctors, specialty care, mental health services, and prescription drugs. Health care will be guaranteed to all residents, regardless of someone's ability to pay or immigration status. So, if you think $100 million a year is actually going to cover what you're talking about, now the other part is people who they're also going to use a sliding scale to help. The people that can pay are going to be on a sliding scale. So the people who have private insurance or insurance through their employer and find out that the sliding scale is cheaper than what they're paying already, they're going to get on New York Care.
New York Care, baby.
So we know how that's going to pan out. It's going to be overwhelmed.
Well, it's going to be overwhelmed. All the medical facilities are going to be overwhelmed. The doctors are going to be over-freaking-whelmed. And how good a care do you think you're going to get?
Well, here's another part, is if the city is going to guarantee health care for people, aren't they at some point in time starting getting into the salaries of the doctors saying, well, being as we run the healthcare system, we're only going to pay you X number of dollars for this procedure and so on and per visit. And so I'm just speculation on my part.
Again, all of our politicians, you think these ideas are freaking good, get rid of your freaking plans and get on these ones that you want people on.
Oh, that's not going to happen.
Oh, hell no, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Freaking chuckleheads. I can't say that. That's your name. I'm sorry.
De Blasio said the program will begin this summer and will take 2 years to fully implement. He calls it the most comprehensive healthcare system in the nation, and that New York is going to lead the way.
Yeah, they are.
You're going to lead the way, all right.
They're helping lead the way, and people leaving your freaking state.
Exactly.
And it's just going to get even worse when you tout this bull crap.
Yes, but wait, that's not all.
Oh, boy.
More Bill de Blasio.
Bill de Blasio.
Let's see, workers in New York City already earn up to a week paid time off, and while giving additional 2 weeks paid vacation sounds like a nice idea, it has significant cost for businesses, especially at a time when the vacant storefronts plague our city streets and employment growth at city's restaurants has gone flat. So what he's doing is he wants to give all the city employees 2 weeks time off. And that covers the proposal expected to impact at least 500,000 people.
Wow.
That's going to be a lot of money to pay out.
Rachel, get off the show. Make your mother cook something for you to eat.
Wow. Hey, we got Doug Gooding out there, too. But, time off. Absolutely, people need time off. But if you're going to come out and say 500,000 people in your city are going to get 2 weeks time off that they didn't have before, how are you going to pay for that? So you think you're going to take $100 billion to pay for this additional health care and then guarantee 500,000 workers an additional 2 weeks off? That's a pretty big hole you're digging yourself into.
Not exactly sure, Coop, but you can't expect the frickin' government to pay for everybody's damn health care. I'm sorry.
Well, and you're right, Brian. I'm not sure what the answer is, but I know government health care is not it. Well, for one, they can't afford it because it's going to take. They're going to take.
Well, let's just do more 80% tax like this crazy ass Alexandria Cortez wants to do on the new Green Deal.
And back to socialized medicine, when they first talked about Hillary Care is going to take, and Obamacare also takes over 1/6 of the American economy. That puts the government in charge of way, way too much stuff, and they haven't gotten anything right yet.
No. And they can't even get the postal system right.
It's a failed look at Social Security. It's the last person I want in charge of my health care is the government.
Yeah, I mean, Social Security is a travesty. I mean, because they just take money out of that frickin' thing, too. Yeah. I mean, in the beginning, was it probably a decent thing? Yeah, because they're trying to help people out. But in the end, all these government programs turned to crap because of all the corruptness.
They dipped into it. And you're right, Brian. It is a problem. But the government's not the answer. Government's more of a problem than it is the answer.
I think so anyway. I don't know.
Okay, what else you got on the table over there, mister?
I don't know. This is a good one here I like. Some people on this show might not, but I am. Newly elected Senator Marsha Blackburn, this is a Republican from Tennessee, announced Thursday that she has introduced her first bill in the Senate, one that would end federal funding to all abortion providers, including Planned Parenthood. Tennesseans and American people do not want their tax dollars funding abortion. Amen, sister. She said in a statement posted on her Twitter page Friday. Blackburn was elected to the Senate on November 6, beating Democrat Phil Bredesen, a former governor. She had previously represented Tennessee in the U.S. House since 2003. They have made this position clear time and again. Tennessee's first female U.S. Senator said of the state voters, hardworking taxpayers do not want to subsidize the business of abortion providers and entities such as Planned Parenthood. The bill would ensure that abortion providers would not get funding under the Title X or Title 10 of the Public Health Service Act, which gives the Secretary of Health and Human Services the authority to award grants for projects to provide family planning services to any person desiring such services, with priority given to individuals from low-income families. That's according to healthandhumanservices.gov. Other pro-life organizations have tweeted support since Blackburn's announcement went live Thursday. We are so grateful for Senator Marsha Blackburn, whose first bill as a U.S. Senator will protect unborn babies by ensuring not one dime of tax dollars into the Title X family planning program goes to abortion businesses. like Planned Parenthood. Susan B. Anthony List, a grassroots pro-life policy and advocacy organization, tweeted Friday. The National Right to Life also congratulated her efforts to eliminate federal funding for abortion providers. If somebody wants to have an abortion, they can pay for it under their own damn dime, not mine.
What we talked about before is, there's cases where, unfortunately, abortion could be needed.
I understand if people are raped or if they're products of incest or something like. I understand why they would want to have. Or you got
the health of the mother, yeah. But it should not be used as birth control.
How many times does the health of the mother come into play here?
I
don't know the statistics on it. I'm sure the doctor and the family or whoever, if there's an emergency in the emergency room or something like that, can take that into their own consideration. That's on them. But when it comes down to my tax dollars funding abortions for life, that does begin at conception through Almighty God and at this statement of the Department of Health and Human Services now. Sorry. You can laugh all you want, Coop. But.
John Chubbuck said deregulation is the answer to our healthcare system. So
sounds good to me.
We got Dave Shaw out here watching too. All right. Let's see. Where do you want to go to next?
I don't know. Go ahead.
You got the David Webb article?
No, I don't.
Here, I'll give you this because you post that. I'll let you have it. That's a good one.
This is kind of funny. It was a rough day for, I think that's supposed to be author and CNN legal analyst Areva Martin on Tuesday. She accused Sirius XM Radio and Fox Nation host David Webb of white privilege during a segment on a radio program before he broke the news. Areva, I hate to break it to you, but you should be better prepped. I'm black, Webb said. The embarrassing moment occurred during a discussion about experience being more important than race when determining whether or not someone is qualified for a particular job. I've chosen to cross different parts of the media world, done the work, so that's why I'm qualified to be in each one. I never considered my color the issue. I considered qualifications the issue, Webb said. That's another long conversation about white privilege. The things that you have the privilege of doing that people of color don't have the privilege of, said Martin, who also hosts CBS Face the Truth. Is that kind of ironic right there? Facing the truth. Martin responded, David, by virtue of being a white male, you have white privilege. The Fox Nation host then explained that he was actually black. I stand corrected, Martin said. Sure you do. You complete frickin' Frankentard.
That's funny.
That is hilarious.
She's arguing with the guy that tells him he's got white privilege and he's black guys. No, he got to where he's at by merit. Mm-hmm. He worked.
Absolutely. He's freaking good. I like him.
Yes, he does a good job. Hey, we got Bob Smith out there too. All right.
Hello, Bob.
Did you see California Governor Gavin Newsom is proposing a tax on drinking water to help disadvantaged communities?
Why do you keep bringing up California?
Because
I hate California.
Because they're kind of asinine.
Stupid is what they are.
To clean up contaminated water systems. Newsom's plan for safe and affordable drinking water fund included a new governor's first budget proposal attempts to revive an idea that died in legislature last year. McClatchy investigation last year showed that at least 360,000 Californians rely on water that does not meet state standards for toxins. McClatchy also found that some 6 million Californians have water providers that have violated state standards at some point since 2012. So why don't you deal with these people, the people who are supplying the water, rather than?
I don't know. I mean, why wouldn't you? Why do you have to mess with everybody else?
Yeah, because this is the areas they're looking at is San Joaquin Valley and the Mojave Desert, and what they're, I guess part of the problem is nitrates in the water from cow manure. But
people drink wine. There's nitrates in there, or nitrites, or whatever it is.
I don't know, but they're talking about raising taxes, which is not very much. It's 95 cents a month. Is recording, a month on here is what they're going to raise the taxes. But you know what? With all the other taxes California has, that's going to turn into a lot of money.
You can't tax your way out of frickin' debt.
Well, and the other part is that they've got, in one of these other articles I'll hit here in a little bit, they've got $14.8 billion worth of surplus.
What?
If you've got $14 billion of surplus, you're taxing your people too much. Okay, so now
that's obvious. I mean, California. I mean, for crying out loud.
Right. So, and at one point in time, 2 years ago, during a drought, to save the Delta smelt, they were running 250,000 acre feet of water. I don't know how much water that is into the ocean to help save these fish because
You're
the
a
ocean
poet, don't even know it, bud.
Yeah, I don't even know what this, but I don't know what it costs rather than run the water into the ocean to do something with this to help these people with their drinking water, and it's during a drought.
Yeah, just run your water in the ocean during a drought. That's fine. I mean,
well, they're saving the Delta smelt.
Sure they are.
Which it didn't work. There's very few Delta smelt left.
Delta smelt. Sounds like a rock band. We are the Delta smelt, man. Rock on.
Hey, that's what the article says. All right.
Sure, Steve.
No, it's my story,
your world,
Mister.
buddy.
It's my story.
It's your world.
It's my story.
I'll tell you what. I got a story here that'll just rock your socks off.
Okay.
You're not going to believe it.
Is California and New York involved, or Illinois?
Actually, Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
Boston, Massachusetts. 3 members of the so-called Irish mob midgets.
What?
Well, see, they're already wrong here because that's politically incorrect. You can't say midget. A Boston-based criminal organization composed of people of short stature have been arrested this morning, reports the Boston Chronicle. Security camera footage shows the 3 suspects during a home break-in in which the intruders entered the house through the pet door.
This just keeps getting better, doesn't it?
Heel! Authorities also believe the crime organization could be behind 55 other similar break-ins in the region. They found a criminal use to their small-sized bodies and used them to break in through chimneys, pet doors, and small open windows. That is according to Officer Ken Stevens of the Boston PD. Although the Irish mob midgets officially describe themselves as a non-profit motorcycle enthusiast club. They got them little tiny motorcycles. For people of the Boston area, several high-profile members of the organization have been arrested in the past years on charges of drug trafficking, arson, and aggravated assault. Those doggone little people, I'm telling you. Breaking through the pet door. Can you believe that?
That's funny. That's funny.
I'd like to see one of them stick their freaking heads through that door and just get mauled by a freaking pit bull or something.
Or a Shih Tzu.
Oh, my. Damn Shih Tzus are killing me. Oh, God. It's hilarious.
You got more on that, or are you done with that one?
That's it. I'm done.
Hey, we got Kelly Cagle out there this evening, too. All right. Okay, here's
person.
Here's something that sparked a lot of debate on our Facebook page, and that's great.
It is great.
I like to see that.
Yeah, conservative, liberal, in between. Just it's awesome. We love it.
Sheila Jackson Lee of Texas, Democrat.
Oh yeah, Sheila.
Told PJM that the federal government should conduct a study of reparations for descendants of slaves to be able to determine the best way to repair some of the damage that slavery has caused to the African American community.
No, sorry.
Jackson Lee became a lead sponsor of H.R. 40, the commission to study and develop reparation proposals for African American Act after Representative John Conyers resigned from Congress. This legislation seeks to address the fundamental injustice, cruelty, brutality, and inhumanity of slavery in the United States and the 13 American colonies between 1619 and 1865 to establish a commission to study and consider a national apology and proposal for reparations for the institution of slavery, its subsequent de jure and de facto racial and economic discrimination against African Americans, and the impact of these forces on living African Americans, to make recommendations to the Congress for on appropriate remedies and for other purposes. Some of that I'm not even sure what I just read.
Number one, why in the hell do any of these people deserve any money for somebody else's ass beating?
You're right. Why are we paying for something that we had nothing to do with? If there's slaves out there or slave owners, there's neither one out there right now.
That's not. Well, I mean, there's sex traffickers and stuff like that, but for crying out loud, I didn't have nothing to do with it. I don't know if any of my ancestors had anything to do with it, but I'm not paying it.
No. Well, and she makes it sound, and I'm just kind of reading into this, that's the white people's fault. When
was there any black slave owners?
Anthony Johnson comes to mind, and this is something that somebody had mentioned on our Facebook page, which is pretty interesting, I thought. Anthony Johnson was a black Angolan who achieved freedom in the early 17th century colony of Virginia after serving his term of indenture. He became a property owner and owned slaves, and was the first people in Virginia to have his right to own slave legally recognized.
What?
He was an indentured servant, and in 1621, he earned his freedom after several years and was granted land by the colony. He later became a successful tobacco farmer in Maryland. He attained great wealth after having been an indentured servant, and has been referred to as the Black Patriarch of the first community of a Negro property owner in America. Johnson was captured by an enemy nation and sold to Arab slave traders. He was eventually sold as an indentured servant and merchant. Johnson was sold to a white planter named Bennett as an indentured servant to work on his Virginia tobacco farm. Servants typically... Okay, anyway, this article goes on. I get this from Wikipedia. But Anthony Johnson owned slaves. So
Anthony Johnson owned slaves, and Native Americans owned black slaves. Mm-hmm. Are the Native Americans going to be part of this? How about Britain? Didn't Britain have the slaves over there, and then whenever everybody came over here, maybe they need to be part of it?
So
what about the people who had Irish people as slaves and things like that? What about the Hebrews who were in slavery for 400 years? Somebody going to pay them any money?
Well, I don't know where she gets this idea, but
they've been kicking this freaking idea around for how many years?
At
least 20 years. Okay? No, it's over. It's done. It was a tragic part of American history. Absolutely. Should anybody be in slavery? No, nobody should.
Well, there's another thing that we talk about, too, is if you don't learn from history, you're going to repeat it. So if you keep tearing down these statues, refuse to teach anything about slavery in your schools because it was a black eye on our country, which it definitely was, but you have to teach the good with the bad. That's how people learn.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And I'm not even sure that most people that were fighting for slavery. I'm going to have to go back and read some more, but I think even Robert E. Lee did not care for the institution of slavery, but he wasn't going to fight against his own state, against his own people.
There is something about that in here somewhere, but I'm not going to find it right now. But yeah, that's sparked a pretty good debate on our Facebook page, and that is fantastic. I like that.
That is fantastic. As long as we all can be civil, and even Steve and I have been uncivil at times. But yeah, it's great. And we thank everybody for their comments and everything.
Absolutely.
Steve?
Yes?
I'm telling you right now.
Uh-oh.
You're going to have to shave your frickin' goatee because your toxic masculinity is killing me. I can't handle it anymore.
Well, you're just going to have to get over it, I'm afraid. You're just going to have to be offended.
I got the article somewhere. I can't remember where it's at, but apparently Gillette's jumping on the toxic masculinity thing.
Really?
Yeah. I think I posted it on here somewhere, but I can't. There's another article on here about it, but it's it's something. It is absolutely something.
Where do they come up with these ideas?
Who the heck? Well, it's Gillette. It's a company. It's probably just a freaking marketing ploy to try to get more money, to have people buy more razors for their freaking... Anyway, we are all slaves to taxes. Absolutely, there, Michael Mathis. That's
oh, God, you fantastic. Are exactly right.
Hey, did you know prices fell in December, indicating that U.S. businesses are not passing on the cost of tariffs to consumers? This is from an article on Breitbart.
You said tariffs, right?
Yeah, okay. I said tariffs.
Just didn't want to confuse it.
According to the Labor Department, on Wednesday, that its producer price index fell in December compared with the month. Prices were down 0.2%. Economists had forecast a slight price gain for the month. The index for final demand goods, which are those most likely to translate into consumer prices, moved down 0.4% in December, the same as in November. Food prices rose. Absent food and energy, final demand prices rose 0.2%. One reason for the very tame inflation data is the steep drop in the price of oil, which is good because we don't have to pay for much gas. Absent the volatile food and energy categories, prices of goods fell just 0.1%. Gas prices fell 13.1%, which is fantastic, in December. And overall final demand, energy prices dropped 5.4%. So there's some pretty good things in here. There's a pretty lengthy article. I'm not going to go over it all, but that's fantastic. I like it. What?
Goody wants to know about you shaving your arms.
Whoa.
So
Shave my arms. I got all kinds of hair on my arm, bud.
That's funny.
He shaved something else. Just kidding.
Whoa. Quit.
This is a family show.
So, shall we hit the government shutdown for a little bit?
Sure, go right ahead.
Big discrepancy over the wall. Trump's holding out for money for the border wall. It's what, $5.7 billion, which is what a little over 0.5%, or right at 0.5% of our annual federal budget. Mm-hmm. Now, Pelosi and Schumer, who previously said build a wall, build a wall, build a wall, walk in there and Trump says something about a wall, and she says you're not getting any money, and Trump walks out.
Yeah.
Okay, you can call it a tantrum if you want. That's fine, but what happened to negotiations? I mean, if you come in and he starts bringing up the wall and she says absolutely not, so the discussions, it's over before it starts. And how come it? I know Trump come out and said, I'll take the heat for this, but how come he's taking 100% of the blame for it when these people can give some too and we can get the government back open?
No, they won't do that.
No, they don't want to do that. And
here's what irritates me about these freaking idiots. You and I both know, and the videos are out there, these two, Clinton, Obama, Barbara Boxer, whoever else, all touting for get illegal immigration out of here.
Right.
Just no more than 20 to 25 years ago.
Schumer's
and now they don't want to barter because they don't want it now. Because why? Because they want freaking votes.
Anything Trump wants is not, they're gonna go against it. It doesn't matter what it is. He's not, and you hear out there, well, what about the $1.7 billion he's got from last year's budget? How come it's not spent? Well, there only 6% of that money for that border wall has been spent, but the rest, about, I forget what the percentage is now, but a large percentage of that has also been set aside for the contract, to pay the contractors when they're done with the project, rather than before they start or finish. So that's where part of that money is at. Not all of it, and I think they've actually, for some reason, may have put a little extra money in there to account for some overspending.
Yeah, Stokes says because Trump is the only one with balls.
Well, hey, there's the other thing. Obama's not president anymore. He's not going to cow down to you. This is one of the reasons Trump was elected, to upset the apple cart, because people were sick and tired of the status quo. And he was the person for the job. Because, he's going against the status quo from top to bottom. Does he act like an idiot sometimes? Oh, you betcha.
Oh, yeah. Agent Orange, as they call him, which I think is hilarious. Absolutely, he does. There's a lot of his Twitter rhetoric. I wish he would just shut the hell up sometimes. Okay. Bob Smith, if Trump built the wall out of solar panels, the letters would start supporting coal. You know what would happen. Lefties, he says, not letters. Yeah. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's just no matter what he wants, they want the opposite. It just doesn't matter. He's not the status quo. He's not a politician. He's not playing their games. He's everything they hate.
Absolutely.
But you know what? He was elected to upset that apple cart.
You know who's voting for him again in 2020?
You and me.
Me. Absolutely right.
Well, here's another issue here pertaining to the wall somewhat, or I'm going to make it pertain to the wall, is you got a teacher strike in L.A. They're wanting...
See?
They're wanting higher wages, which actually is confusing me because they've got $14.8 billion in excess. But this gal, she says, this Belson, who has 2 children in the district, her daughter's first grade class has 37 students, and one of her son's sixth grade classes has 50 students. She says, that's a real crisis, not the wall. Okay, you've got oversized classes. No, I'm not there. I'm strictly speculating here. I'm not there. But I'm going to assume that because you're a sanctuary state, that you allow all the illegals to come in and get in your schools and create an oversized class for your schools.
Ding, 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 ding.
I don't know, just my opinion, but yeah, I think. I mean, seriously, I mean, the first thing to control your immigration problem is to cut off the flow, stop the bleeding, quit digging the hole. Now,
you're a horrible person.
Whatever. And then just stop the flow. And they say, well, a physical barrier is, we got to have better technology than just a physical barrier, because experts, so-called experts, say that physical barriers don't work. Well, yeah, they do. We hit that a little bit last week. I mean, they're around our prisons. We got physical barriers there. They're around our sporting events.
Around all of your politicians' homes, around the Vatican.
Yep.
We have a physical barrier at our house called a door.
Yeah. And here's another problem, too. It says death more likely by opioids than the car crashes. And but you're more likely to die from opioids than in a car crash these days. So I understand not all the opioids are coming across our southern border, but wouldn't a physical barrier help slow that stuff down?
Sure it would. Absolutely would. And I don't give a crap what anybody says.
Here again, we got fences around our prisons.
I guarantee you right now, if Schumer and Pelosi and all these guys will be on with this frickin' border wall, all these frickin' people running their frickin' mouth about the wall's not going to be built and this and that and the other thing, would probably jump right on board with them then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why not?
Sure they would. Hey, good news for the Tea Party groups.
Uh-oh.
Back in the day where they said they were being targeted, but nobody said, they were saying, oh, you guys are crazy. They were. Apparently, dozens of conservative organizations are receiving late Christmas presents years after the IRS handed them a lump of coal. Federal government in recent days has been issuing settlement checks to 100 right of center groups wrongfully targeted for their political beliefs under the Obama administration Internal Revenue Service, according to an attorney for the firm that represented plaintiffs in NorCal versus the United States. 3 of these claimants in a $3.5 million national class action suit are based in the Badger State. It's really a groundbreaking case. Hopefully it sets a precedent and will serve as a warning to government officials who further feel tempted to discriminate against U.S. citizens based on their viewpoints. And that goes either way. It shouldn't happen on the left. It shouldn't happen on the right or in the center. Most of the claimants will receive a check for approximately $14,000. I'll take that. 5 conservative groups that were integrally involved in the lawsuit get a bonus payment of $10,000 each, the attorney said.
Ooh, wow.
About $2 million of the settlement goes to cover the legal cost of 5 long years of litigation. IRS attorneys attempt to delay after delay, objection after objection, trying to use the very taxpayer protection statutes the plaintiffs were suing under to suppress the documents. The agency has admitted no wrongdoing, yeah. And what a federal report found to be incidents of intrusive inspections, organizations seeking nonprofit status. You didn't do anything wrong, but yet you got to pay out some freaking money here, bud. Brandon Scholes, managing director of Wisconsin Small Businesses United, one of the groups receiving a settlement, checks that IRS conduct had a chilling effect on free speech. Yes, it did. So, all this is going on. These guys are getting some freaking money because the IRS and that particular side
administration
of the political spectrum was doing things they shouldn't have been doing. I still wonder why Lois Lerner in freaking jail.
That's a very good question. You don't see any investigations going on about her now, do you?
Or the boss of the IRS back in the day. I can't remember what that turd burger's name was.
I don't remember offhand. Gooding says that Starbucks is installing Sharps containers to supposedly protect its employees because things are out there so bad. But speaking of investigations, you seen the New York Times bombshell the other day? They called it about the counterintelligence investigation after the Comey firing.
Yeah.
They think he's a Russian agent.
I saw that.
Really? Are you okay? How many times do you think Trump was investigated while he was on the campaign trail?
Gosh. It's Russian collusion, man. Russian collusion.
Yeah, after 2 years of that, we've got people indicted, but it wasn't for collusion. It was for
New York Times, who how they're still in business. I'll never know because they're losing money hand over fist.
Then if the guy's dirty, by all means, take care of it. But 2 years into this, and you still haven't. You guys are pretty good at leaking stuff, and nothing's been leaked out about him being in collusion with the Russians or being a Russian agent. And And then they find out, what was an article you posted today? James Baker, who's one of the former FBI top lawyers, said he's subject to criminal leak that the transcripts are revealing right now during these investigations.
Are you kidding me? Really?
Yeah.
In the words of Ronald Reagan, there ain't no smoking gun.
Yeah. It's just crazy. And by all means, if the guy's dirty, let's get rid of him. But at the same time, let's apply the law equally. Let's look at Loretta Lynch, Lois Lerner, Eric Holder, Hillary Clinton. How come there's no huge investigations we're hearing about? And if there is, I sure would like to know about them, because it needs to be done. You got 33,000 emails that disappeared. They were deleted and then bleached bit, and they say, "Oh my God, it was done by accident."
Yeah.
And then Strzok and Page, their phones, all the text messages. There was 19,000 text messages that they couldn't find because the phones were
certain people end up
reset.
dying, things like that. I don't know what would happen there. But
by all means, follow the law, but follow it equally across both political aisles, because it doesn't look very good at this point.
Well, we don't on the right assassinate people that might have some dope on it. Maybe we do. I don't know.
O'Brien says they're not the president, but that doesn't mean that they shouldn't follow the law by any means. They were part of an administration. In fact, Secretary of State is pretty tall.
Oh, yeah.
Tall over. Head of the IRS is a pretty tall person there, too. Eric Holder, who's Attorney General, let's just follow the law equily. And here again, if Trump's dirty, by all means, get rid of him.
Absolutely.
By all means, get rid of him. Bob Smith said, "Be careful what you say, might turn up missing."
Well, Holder says, "Just want to set the record straight. I'm no relation to Eric Holder." Yeah.
I'm pretty much out of stuff here. What else you got, mister?
Nothing worth talking about.
Okay, well, I said something about Strzok and Page. They were the FBI person that Peter Strzok was, and Lisa Page was an FBI attorney. And let's see if I find that number of. I'm not finding the number of messages they couldn't find, but I guess it's about time to wrap this thing up.
Yeah, it is. I think I hear Sonic calling my belly.
No kidding.
Double cheese and tots. Double cheese and tots.
You're right, Brian. Start at the top.
Yeah.
Go from the top down. If they're dirty, get rid of them.
I agree, 100%.
100%. I don't care what party they are.
Conservative, liberal, Republican, Green Party, Purple Party, who cares? Get the freaks out.
Absolutely. Follow the law equally. That's all I'm asking.
Sounds like a good deal to me.
All righty. Well,
hey, all you people that post stuff on our page, thank you. Left, right, indifferent, I don't care. This is a good way to keep things going and interact, and we may not like it, but
you know what, we'll get over it.
We'll get over it.
We're not going to get butt hurt or anything like that. We're big boys now.
I still wear diapers.
A few more years, I might be in some too.
Oh my gosh. Good show, commies. I love you, Coop, freak.
Hey, you people that post things on our page, like we said, absolutely love it. Keeps things going.
Yep.
Helps us a bunch. Greatly appreciate it. We don't have to agree, but we can discuss it. It's all right. It's all good. Okay. If you love your country, you love your freedom, thank a veteran.
Absolutely.
Thanks for turning on and tuning in.
God bless America.
We'll see you
Comrades.
next time. We'll see you later.